Okay. Please let me know if you can see my screen, hear me, and see me. Is everything okay? Are we good to start? Let me check the chat. Yes. Okay, great. Excellent. One more thing. Okay. So let's start today's webinar. The topic of today's webinar is business analysis and change management. And we will discuss some important aspects of both disciplines and see how business analysts can work in both of them at the same time, and why it is important for business analysts to know about the nature of change and how it can be managed. So thank you very much for joining today. I know that you are from different countries, so it might be different time at your place right now. So thank you very much for making it and coming to today's webinar. It will take approximately an hour, and I would like to introduce myself. My name is Anastasia. I am the founder of AdvanceEdge Professional Services. We offer business analysis courses and consulting services, and we are proud to be an endorsed education provider of the International Institute of Business Analysis. And we also help business analysts through our online live instructor-led courses. They are never recorded, so these are live courses to successfully prepare for IIBA certifications, such as ECBA, CCBA, and CBAP. I myself is also a certified business analyst, and like 7 years ago, I got my first certification. It was CCBA at the time, and then later on, gaining more experience, I recertified to CBAP. So this is just a quick overview of the services we offer. There are two types of courses in the area of preparing for IIBA certification. There is ECBA, CCBA certification preparation course. Sorry for the background. And CBAP certification preparation course. So here you can see the start dates, the duration. For more information, please visit our website, advanceedge.org. And there are also advanced business analysis courses. One of them is Business Analysis Foundation, and the second one is Business Analysis Level Up. These are much longer courses compared to the IIBA certification preparation courses, but these are more comprehensive, and at the same time, they are also BABOK aligned and qualify for those professional development hours that you might need in case you apply for an IIBA exam. Okay, so let's start with today's webinar agenda. And I propose we first go through all the items in today's webinar, and then we can certainly share our experience. You can tell your stories, you can ask questions. Let's do this at the end once we cover all the items from the webinar. So we will see the definition of business analysis, because we need to talk about the business analysis and change management and how these two things relate to each other and how we can understand this relation and use it in our day-to-day practice. We will talk about the types of change business analysts work with, the definition of change, the sides of organizational change, and how a change is managed. What necessary steps do we need to be aware of? Okay, so let's please confirm that you can see how the slides are changing. Is everything okay with the slide deck? Just a moment, I will check. Okay, I see that we are good. Okay, let's continue. Sorry. So what is business analysis? Let's start with the terminology, because the understanding of the terminology always allows us to better understand the subject, right? So, and I'm using the definition from the BABOK guide, which is the business analysis body of knowledge. So according to the BABOK guide, business analysis is the practice of enabling change by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders, right? So in its very terminology, business analysis is about change and how business analysts help this change happen. So, and today when we will say business analysis, we will not refer only to those people who are holding like the job title business analyst, but actually to anybody performing business analysis activities. You can be a product owner, a product manager, a data analyst, a project manager, probably a team lead. But as long as you are performing business analysis activities, which are about defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders, you are actually doing business analysis. And also, according to the Babok guide, business analysis is industry agnostic. So it is not something specific to the IT and software development industry only. It can also be successfully applied. The same practices, the same activities can successfully be applied in any other industry as well. But of course, you need practical experience to be able to complete these activities successfully in those other industries. Okay, so again, business analysis, just to reconfirm, right? Business analysis is about defining the current state, and this will include the current company's assets, the current processes, the employees, the existing software or other solutions that they use. So everything an organization possess, and also its external environment, its relations to its vendors, its compliance to the legislation in the company where in the country where this company operates, and so on. This is the current state. Then you need to understand, based on the evaluated needs, problems, and opportunities that the company wants to address, the desired future state. Where do we want to come in the future, right? And then once you know A and B, you can show the ways how you can get from A to B to the company and select those solutions that are the most valuable or their combination. So basically, you looking at this picture, you can see how business analysis is about enabling change and about managing change successfully, because you help a company, an organization, or a department to transition from state A to state B, and you help them go through this process. Okay, and of course, there are, like I've already said, that business analysis is industry agnostic. It cannot necessarily be performed in the software development industry. It can also be successfully performed in any other industries. And I do understand that not all of us perform business analysis on the strategic level, right, on the level of the whole enterprise. And that is why we need to clarify that business analysis can be performed on different perspectives or on different levels, so to say, right? You can be a strategic business analyst working in the company. Your title can be different, right? But your work is about large-scale transformations, how a company changes everything and, for example, builds a scaled agile framework inside, right? When previously they operated in a different way. Or if there is a merger or an acquisition, this is a company change, right? A company-wide change, a strategic change. And there should be business analysis activities performed on that level. Then business analysis can be performed on the level of a department within a company, or part of the department, part of the company, probably, right? Assume there is a big corporation and they have an accountant department, and we are automating something for them or building a solution for them only. Then you work on that level. You can also be working on a process level, right, with business processes, when a company decides to improve an existing business process, to automate an existing manual process, to improve its efficiency, and you are proposing changes and probably proposing to start using or implement from scratch a custom software to help that automation, right? Or there can be system level changes, and you as a business analyst might be working on that system level, right? When, for example, we are transitioning from one system to another, or from one provider to another. Assume the company had just physical servers, and now they are moving to cloud providers, right? Or they are moving from Amazon to something different. So again, another level. You can be working on the level of modules within a system, right? When there is a huge solution and there is a team of business analysts working on that solution. But you, as a business analyst, are responsible for a certain module development. Or it can be feature implementation. This is also a level of business analysis when you're responsible for certain features, for the analysis, for elicitation of requirements, and for building and designing of those requirements and specifications. So this is just to keep in mind during our today's webinar that business analysis is not equal to requirements engineering. It is a much wider area, and it can be applied on any different perspectives. And when we will be talking about the aspects of change management, we should all remember about these different levels and try to apply the same change management aspects to those levels where we are currently working on. Okay, so what is change? Again, we have discussed what business analysis is and the types of changes business analysts may be working with, like a strategic change, a system-wide change, a process change, a feature. And now let's talk about the change itself. Again, according to the Babok guide, a change is the act of transformation in response to a need. There is something that company management probably doesn't like, or a project sponsor doesn't like about their business, and they decide that they need something new, they need something to be improved. And this is the act of transformation when we come to the future desired state and realize the value that we were aiming for. Right? So now let's talk about the change aspects. When there is a change, any change that any of those types of changes that we have just discussed, there are always two aspects into that change. And the first aspect is well known and is typically purely visible, and it is easier to manage it and to navigate it. This is the technical side of change, and we will talk in more details what the technical side of change is. And then there is the second aspect, and for now you can see on my slide only TBD, 3 letters to be discussed. Yes, we will cover this a bit later. Now let's cover the technical side of change first. So the technical side of change will be just something technically new what is going to happen. If it is a strategic level change, it can be a company acquisition or a company merger, and this will be all the processes involved into that acquisition process. It can be building new software, changing or improving part of the software solution, automating or improving a business process, right? When we redesign the steps in the process, probably, or integrating with a third-party vendor. For example, I was working once on an initiative when we were integrating an investment management platform with the bank. It was a direct integration with the bank, not with the payment provider, right? Or moving from one provider to another. This is the technical side of change. We all know about it, and this technical side of change is typically obvious. We understand that a new solution has to be developed or a new feature has to be built. And this is where business analysts are typically very strong at, right? You know what you have to do. You collaborate with stakeholders, you elicit their requirements, you manage all this business analysis information, document and store it, and you perform the analysis of the requirements, define the designs, and manage those requirements. And once the specification is ready, you send it further to developers, they implement, and probably as part of your job, you also evaluate then the working solution, right? Perform acceptance testing if you are working in the software development industry. So this is the technical side of change. We know about it, and business analysts typically take good care of this type of change. But still, despite this technical side of change is typically well managed, you can still run into such factors as change resistance, like when people tend to resist the change. And depending on that level, remember those levels of business analysis we discussed, you can run into different types of resistance. For example, your stakeholders who you need to work with, your business stakeholders, are not willing to collaborate with you. They are not willing to share the information with you, or they delay the processes. For example, you send something for their approval, or you request samples of certain documents from them, and they create delays in those processes, and you cannot do your work on time, right? Or they tend to ask questions like, why do we need this? And I don't want to do this. And then once the change is implemented, assume this is a new software solution, people may not use it, right? When you were working on it and you were designing it for example, company employees, you launched the solution, and surprisingly, people do not use it, or use it incorrectly, or tend to do the things the older way, or create workarounds instead of just starting to use the new solution, right? And what this leads to is that we have well managed the technical side of change, forgetting about the second aspect of the change, and then the value of the whole initiative, of the whole change initiative, is not realized in full, or it takes longer, because we assumed, or project sponsors, business owners assume, that once the solution is implemented and live, if it is a software solution, people will start using it, and we will do our work better, or do our work faster, or generate more value. But this doesn't necessarily happen. The value may not be realized in full, as it was stated in the initiative goals. It may be partially realized. It may not be realized at all. It may be realized over a longer period of time, when we expected it to happen within a month, but it takes 6 months instead, or initiatives fail. There is a ready solution that can be used, but it is not being used by anybody, and company reverts back to the older ways of working. So where are these problems rooted? Where are they coming from? Well, change management has two aspects: the technical side of change and the people side of change. And if the technical side of change is typically well managed, right, through stakeholder collaboration, requirements elicitation, requirements lifecycle management, specification creation and deliberation, and so on, the people side of change is typically poorly managed. And depending on the level where you are working at, like if you're working on the strategic level, if you're working on the department level, or system level, or feature level, this people side may be part of your job, or may not be part of your job. And that's okay, even if it is not part of your job to manage the people side. But it is good to know what is in that part, in that aspect of change management, and how you can diagnose what's going on. You have completed, and the development team has completed their work fine and on time, and the solution is working, but still the goals of the initiatives are not met. If you can diagnose why this is happening and influence this process, maybe through the collaboration with key stakeholders and project sponsors to help them understand what's going on, this will be a benefit for you, right? If you can also influence this process, even if it is not part of your current job. So people side of change is about new behaviors, new actions, and new ways of working. If we are changing something in an organization, people will likely have to change how they work, what they do, what results are expected from them, and how they probably even behave, right? Because if it is, for example, an agile transformation, this also requires a change in the mindset. So, and this is something that should be taken care of, because if we manage only technical side of change, and the people side of change is not being paid any attention to, then it is very likely that the goals will not be achieved of the initiative, or they will take longer. Okay, so what this people side of change involves? Well, again, the most natural reaction to any change is resistance. While it is very often assumed by company management that it should be naturally for employees to adapt to the change and even like it, probably, right? We are building a new solution for you, for example, for an accountant department, that will help you generate all those reports for taxes much quicker and easier. And you expect the end users, accountants in my example, to adopt this change naturally and start using the system. But instead, they will find workarounds and will delay the process of learning something new, because change embracement is not a natural reaction. The natural human reaction is resistance. And people will be asking, like, why do we need it? We are fine the way it is. It has always been like this. Our previous change initiatives all failed. It is never good. So, and when a change happens, it requires additional effort from employees, right? They have to learn something new and have to start working in a new way. And not everybody wants to do this. So, and everybody will be asking, why, what is in this change for me? What is in it for me? That's the most typical question that should be addressed, right? So let's talk about the steps of people change management. So step one is creating an awareness about change, right? And it is very common to not communicate the change about the change, not to talk about it. It's like it's happening and this is what you get. But company management, company leadership should take good care not only about telling that the change is actually going to happen, but what people really need to know is why this change happening. Not about the fact that it is happening, but why it is happening. What are the reasons behind this change? Why do we have to go through this change? What are the risks for not changing and the benefits the change will bring? Right? And again, while listening to me, try to apply it to the level where you are working. If you are working on the strategic level, this is one story. Even if you are working on the feature level, it is also the same story. It's just the different group of stakeholders that should know about this, right? So, again, if we are talking about strategic change, it's not easy to create that awareness, because if you have many people working in the company, it is the wording must be different, right? You have to adapt when you create this change awareness, when you talk to different groups of people. So the communication should be planned, it should be tailored, and it should be addressing the concerns of those groups of stakeholders that we are currently talking to. It's not the same sentence, it's not the same words for everybody. It's different. It should be customized depending on who you are talking to. This awareness is not communicated simply through one call, right? Again, depending on the size of the change. Is it a company-wide change or is it a feature level? The scale of this communication will be different. However, typically it takes time to create that awareness. Just saying it once, like, we need this integration with the bank because, like, we want to process payments faster, may not be enough when you tell it just once. More sufficient reasoning, more tailored communication for each group of stakeholders is needed. And it is important to note that there are two questions, right, that we're talking here. Like, why this change is happening? And this is a big question that typically should be addressed by the change leaders. If there is like a business owner or the company top management who can communicate this vision for change, this is great, because then people trust this change more and they see that the management of the company supports the change and lead the change process, right? But when we are talking about each employee level or each team level, right? What is in this change for me? Then we expect people managers to communicate to teams and individual employees, because these two types of communication, like the global reasoning for the change, why is this happening and what are the risks of not changing, is one thing, and it gains more trust when it is communicated by top management, while what is in this change for me as for an employee, how this change will affect me, will I get fired, will I get a new position, will I have to have new responsibilities? This should be addressed by people managers, the closest, the direct manager of each person, right? And to build that awareness, we should have efficient communication plan. It should be continuous and iterative. They should be bi-directional communication. It's not like only the change leadership, change management is telling others what's going on, but this communication should be bi-directional so that people can raise concerns and those concerns may be addressed. And when it is bi-directional communication, it feels less as like just directions what everybody has to do. It is more like building more equal communication. And of course, there should be ready access to business information. If people want to read later on what's going on, why it is happening, and so on, there should be some information easily accessible by everyone, like why we need this, why are we doing this. Again, strategic level, project level, system level, it doesn't matter. The same steps and practices can be applied on any level. If it is just an initiative level, a project level, software development project level, then there should be a clear vision of that project and those goals so that anybody, any relevant stakeholder can easily access that information. Once we have the awareness, people know what is going on, why this change is happening, what are the risks for not changing, how this change will affect them personally, they can make a decision to participate. Right? This resistance, this natural reaction that I've talked about earlier, it starts to disappear, right? Because we at least know what is going on, why this is happening. I can talk to my manager to discuss the consequences and impacts on me personally. I understand what's going on. I understand what will be happening if we are not changing. And then as an employee, I can make an informative decision. I have the information now. I'm not doing like it without any information. I can make an informative decision. Okay, I will participate in this change. And again, this is a very difficult aspect to manage because people are different and their decisions may be affected by their personal life, what is going on in their personal life. Probably they're having some tough time with their spouse right now, right? Or they have some difficulties, or everything is fine and it is easier for them to accept the change at work. It is also the change environment that influences them. For example, they have participated in the past changes of the company and those changes were never a success. So all this influences how each single individual perceives the change. And that is why probably one-on-one coaching conversations might be needed with each single stakeholder in a particular situation, right? So this should be monitored, understood, and managed. If, again, the people side of the change is not being managed at all, it will likely affect the overall goals of the initiative. And ideally, people decide that, yes, I will support the change. I will participate in the change. I understand that this is necessary. Tell me what to do, right? This happens when personal inner motivators and values align with what the company is doing. If there is a match between me and my company, then it will be easier for me to engage into this change and to participate in it and support it. If there is not such a match, more communication with the employee is needed to uncover all the details that the person is thinking, all the concerns that the person has, and address those concerns. And a good way to create this willingness to participate is to create opportunities to engage and to take ownership of the certain steps in the change process. For example, you're discussing a new feature with the end users probably, right? Again, in my example, if we are creating a solution that will automate tax reports generation process for accountants, you may not just tell them, well, here is the diagram, here is the wireframe, this is how you will work now. But instead of doing this, you will ask them, well, will it be convenient for you if we put this button here? This button will do this and that. Then you can download the ready report in Excel format. Do you need any other formats? And they will say, well, probably we need PDFs more than Excel or something else, right? So let your stakeholders engage and take ownership of certain decisions in the change process. Again, this can be applied on any level in business analysis. So now when we have that decision to participate, right? First, we started with awareness, and then the willingness to participate. Awareness helps create willingness to participate. Now, when I have the information, I can make the informative decision that I would like to participate in the change, or at least I understand that I have to participate in it. And these are the benefits that I will get, right? The next step is the knowledge. What type of knowledge do people need when something is changing in their organization or in their work process, right? Or in their department or in the structure of the company where they are working? They need two types of changes, because remember, business analysis is about current state, future state, and the transformation process from A to B, right? People already know how to work in the current state, in the state A. Now they need two new types of knowledge: how to work and how to do the activities during the transformation period, right? And then how to work efficiently in that future state. Only when they have this knowledge, like for the transformation period and for the future state, then they can cope with the change itself. Why do we need the knowledge about the transformation period? Because probably if we are launching a new solution, there will be a time period when people have to do something, that some processes will still be conducted the old way, and some processes will already be moved to the new system, and they need to know how to support both, right? There is a transition period always, and that is why people do not just need to know how to work in the future state, but also what to do in the transition period. Probably how to do the data migration, right? Like, for example, if this is some customer account management system, assume when they already have some old way of managing customer accounts, and now we are creating a new software for them to manage customer accounts. And then during the transition period, we will say, well, keep updating information about existing customers the old way, but all the new customers have to be added through the new system. And then one day we will migrate all the existing customers to the new system as well, right? This is the type of the transition knowledge that people need to have. How can knowledge be delivered to people who need this knowledge, right? To your stakeholders? Well, of course, this is trainings and education programs. This can be self-paced learning. This can be like some online resources, like internal for the company, knowledge-based Confluence, where you have all the related articles. Again, depending on the level you're working on, like strategy level or feature level, it can be a demo video where you teach people to use this new functionality, right? It can be user guide with the screenshots highlighting the buttons and numbering the steps they need to complete. So, and again, it can be through online call or offline meeting where you walk them through the new process. This is the knowledge transition process, when you act basically as a mentor, because it is very likely that you participated in the process of designing this system, this new software solution for them, right? And also, we should remember that if you are teaching basically or transferring knowledge to many people who will be using the new system, keep in mind that the learning capabilities are different, and one approach of transitioning that knowledge to all the employees may not be sufficient. Somebody learns fast, somebody learns slower, and there are like different age groups, there are different people with different levels of the current knowledge. Maybe somebody has been working in the company for 10 years, others entered the company just yesterday. So this learning capabilities should be assessed, and knowledge should be customized and tailored based on those learners who you are delivering the knowledge to, right? So just to refresh: awareness, willingness to participate, and once people make this decision, I'm willing to participate, tell me what to do, we have to create that knowledge. Okay, this is how you have to act during the transition stage and future stage. And now the next level is ability or creating required skills. Knowledge itself doesn't guarantee that the people will act the new way. They have to learn how to do the certain things, right? For example, you decide to pursue, I don't know, like learning French, right? You start learning French language. And if a French teacher just conducts one session for you and explains you the basic rules, it doesn't mean that you will start speaking French tomorrow, right? Knowledge has to be transferred into the ability. And two important things here. This takes time. Depending on the difficulty of the learning that was provided, the time can be different, the time frame can be different, but it will always be like this. Like giving the knowledge to somebody doesn't necessarily mean that they can do it the same minute. It will take time, it requires practice, and one more thing, during the learning process, people tend to do mistakes. This is okay because this is the learning process. That is why during this period, there should be a good environment in the company when there are no like punishment, severe punishment, or some things that discourage people from the new behaviors and adapting new skills, right? Instead, there should be supportive environment where people receive constructive feedback and they can adjust. And again, knowledge is just a prerequisite. The training you provided, the demo video you recorded doesn't guarantee that people will start using the system the way it was designed to use. It takes time. And based on the feedback that you are receiving from your users, probably like in emails or via like messages in Slack or Microsoft Teams or via the tickets that they submit, you can see how well they can use the system, how well they understand how to use the system, and provide additional learning, right? One-time learning may not be enough. And again, to encourage these new behaviors, the new skills that people gain, there should be a system of recognition, support, coaching, and mentoring. These are great tools to encourage these new behaviors. Once people know how to do, they have to start doing this and become good at doing this. And when we insert like new skills into someone's work process, now they have to do things differently. Again, with that example for the accountant department, when they try to generate new tax reports automatically instead of generating them purely in Excel, we can monitor how they are doing this, measure their performance, provide feedback, and make adjustments, right? So to keep improving the process and the results we are getting. And once the new behaviors start appearing, we see that people start using like new solution probably, right? Or new feature, or they follow the new business process that has been designed or updated or improved. It doesn't guarantee that it will be like this forever. Again, naturally, based on scientific results, we tend to revert back to the old behaviors. Remember yourself when trying to adapt any new useful habits. For example, you decided to drink 2 liters of water per day, or you wanted to start running, going jogging, right, every morning. Even if you start doing this and do this for some time, for example, a week or two, it is still very easy to revert back to the old behavior. And to constantly move to this new future desired state, it has to be repeated over and over again, and significant time is required, right? And this is where additional support is needed. And this support can be provided again through two-way communication. You can receive feedback from your users or from your stakeholders or from company employees, and you can provide feedback telling them how to improve their processes, right? And then any successes, any progress should always be celebrated, right? This shows people that we are on the right track. Let's keep moving. And there can also be a system of recognition and awards. This is probably more applicable to the situation when there is a strategic change, but still recognition and awards. And this for people who are adapting new behaviors, start working the new way, and are achieving new results. But this recognition and awards, again, should be meaningful to those who are receiving it. And this is the work of people managers who can also act as coaches, because what is meaningful to each person differs, right? For somebody, it might be meaningful when their results are announced in front of a group of people, of their teammates. For others, it might be much more important to receive just some kind words from their direct manager in one-on-one conversation. So the individual motivators should be clearly understood, and the recognition and awards should be meaningful to the people who are receiving it. It cannot be the same format, the same way for everybody if there are 100 people in an organization, right? And I remember one story about myself. I've shared it on LinkedIn recently. It's about like the way I received recognition once when I had one-on-one conversation with the owner of the business, and she told me like this is the first time in our company when we received this results. And 15 years passed, and I still remember that conversation. And that is why when your manager can provide you the recognition and awards you truly value, it will influence you and it will raise that willingness. Remember several slides back, that willingness to participate in the change and to deliver results. So these tailored motivational factors are really important. So, and this is what the people management aspect of a change requires, right? We need to create awareness. Then we need to receive that confirmation, that willingness to participate in the change. Once people decide that they are ready to support the change, we can move on to providing the knowledge. The knowledge should be transferred into the new skills and abilities and new behaviors. And once the change is there, it should be sustained, it should be reinforced, because there are high chances that people will revert back to the older ways of working and find workarounds not to leave the new way, so to say, right? And try to apply these stages to your level of business analysis, the level that you are working on. If this is a feature level, who it affects, who should be aware of this feature coming, and how can you explain them why this feature is needed, right? How can you get their willingness to start using it? What benefits will it provide for them? How can you teach them to use this new feature? How can you monitor how well they use it, and how you can provide feedback to them to use it in a better way, in a more efficient way, right? And how can you further monitor this process to reinforce the change this? To reinforce this change, this new feature development and delivery, right? So again, why do we need to know this? We have covered that a change management process always covers two aspects, the technical side and the people side of change. And even if the technical side of change is receiving good care, like we plan, we manage, we monitor, we complete all the activities related to the technical side of change, sometimes initiatives fail. And if you are, as a business analyst, are able to understand and diagnose, well, people just do not understand why they need this, right? And if you can yourself, you have enough authority to act and to improve this, go act and improve. But if you understand that this is not your level of authority, then maybe at least you can talk to those who have the right level of authority and say them what is going on and tell them what's going on, right? So, and one more important thing about those stages, like awareness, knowledge, awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement, is that they are not necessarily one after another. People can revert back to the previous stages, right? Especially this can happen on the level of creating an ability. Like they understand why the change is happening, they agree to participate in the change, they complete the training, they start doing this, they fail. They think, well, I will never be able to do this. I don't understand how to use this. And this is where they can revert back to the previous stages. And again, this is how you need to diagnose what's going on and to provide the needed level of support, or ask those who have the authority to provide that needed level of support, right? Or again, if people start using the system and just make some mistakes while using it, it means that they are lacking the skills to use it. And there is no point in going to them and telling about them, well, you should be using this because the reasons for change are the following. You do not need to create awareness here. You need to understand that this is just the lack of knowledge, the lack of skills probably that they have, and show them how they can work, right? So this information is valuable again because you can diagnose, you can improve the situation, improve the overall initiative efficiency, and build stronger relationships with your stakeholders who you are collaborating with on the daily basis. And actually, what I also like about this information is that it can be easily applied in personal life. Assume that you want to get certified, right? Or I don't know, you want to adapt a new healthy habit. You will have to go through the same stages. And why we are talking about these very stages is because like the technical side of change is clear, but the people side of change is happening one by one individual by one individual, and every person involved in the change process should get enough attention to make this change happen, not to leave anybody behind the change process, because this will affect the overall initiative's results. Okay, so here's our webinar summary. And while we are covering this, start thinking if you want to share any your experiences, the problems you've met, or the successes that were achieved, and probably ask questions. So we have covered that business analysis is the practice of enabling change, right? It's about the change itself. It's about understanding the current state, defining the future state, and recommending the solution that delivers the most value and helping the organization to transition successfully to that future state, realizing the maximum value. Business analysis is industry agnostic and it can be performed on various perspectives, but the same practices, activities, knowledge, and abilities can be applied no matter what level you are working on, right? Strategic level, department level, system level, feature level, anything else. Business analysts or anybody like regardless of their job title somehow will be involved in this change management process, and any organizational change always includes two aspects: technical side of change and people side of change. And the people side of change includes 5 stages: awareness, desire to participate or willingness to participate, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement, right? And business analysts should be able to identify that existing resistance probably, or the reasons for the change not achieving all the goals that were originally stated, diagnose where the issue is coming from if it is in the people side of change, and either act and improve the situation, or at least talk to people who have the right level of authority to change this and improve. Well, this is it about the webinar. And in case you have any questions or comments or want to share your stories, it will be very cool. Is there anybody? Okay. Okay, not yet. Okay. While you are probably thinking, and maybe someone will share their stories a little bit later on, I want to tell you about the new opportunity that we are going to offer at AdvanceEdge Professional Services. So we are going to create business analysis community of practice. What this will be in addition to those courses that we are offering. This business analysis community of practice is a great tool to gain some new knowledge, new skills, and to interact with professionals, business analysis professionals worldwide. So what is this? This is a monthly subscription. It will cost 25 Canadian dollars per month. And within that month, you will receive access to 2 live webinars. If you miss them, you can get the recording. You will receive in a document, in a PDF document, the summary of the webinar content. After the webinar, you will receive exercises. You will complete those exercises on your own and send them to us so that we can check and ask questions, or you can ask questions. And additionally, we will have a community chat where all of the community active members will share their experience. You can seek their professional advice, share insights, ask questions, and so on. And all this content delivered during those bi-weekly webinars during your monthly subscription, you will get 2 live webinars. All this content will be Babok aligned. So all those practical exercises that you will then be completing and receiving feedback. They will be instructor facilitated, and that which means that this will be counted and qualified as professional development hours in case you want to apply those hours to your CCBA or CBEP exam in the future. So in case you would like to join, you can join anytime. Again, the subscription is monthly. And if you want to join, you can visit our website. For now, there is a registration form called Join Business Analysis Community of Practice, and you can apply for joining. And I will just share my personal experience again about building business analysis community of practice in a company where I was working. At one period of time, we had no community of practice at all. This probably was about like 8 years ago. And what this led to is that business analysts would be working on different initiatives. They will not be communicating to each other. There will be no standardized processes, no standardized like templates, and no communication and no knowledge sharing, which led to the same mistakes made by different professionals on different initiatives, but at the same time working in the same company. And then I led that process of building that business analysis community in that organization. And this helped us improve the overall quality of business analysis activities in the whole company. We started meeting weekly. We would have our knowledge sharing sessions weekly. We would discuss important tools that helped us share some information and approaches that can be reused on different initiatives. So the overall quality of business analysis became much more consistent and better, and business analysts started feeling empowered because they now knew that it is okay to go to that community, like chat group or talk in person to those who do the same and seek for professional advice instead of spending hours searching on Google and searching the right information you need. So, and this is basically such a global business analysis community. And when you can communicate with anybody in the world who are in this community, and this is a great opportunity again to gain new knowledge, gain new skills, apply this knowledge at work, share your results, and also apply this as professional development hours for your future certification if you are considering it. Okay, so if you are interested, you can send me a message in LinkedIn or complete the registration form on our website. So I now see a message in chat. Let's try to cover it. Wait a second. So one question, how would you manage changes, for example, during the implementation of a new information system for optimization some processes and when employees totally understand that they have a risk to lose their job after finishing the project and try to sabotage the change as much as possible? Okay, so I will rephrase to confirm my understanding, and Marina, if I'm not getting it right, please feel free to provide more information, okay? You can just unmute and speak. So there is some solution that is being developed internally for an organization, and the current existing employees are involved in this process, but they are resisting this change because they assume that they will be fired when this initiative is finished and that new software is live, right? Am I saying it right? Okay. Okay, good. So, well, first of all, I think that the first mistake that has been made here, and again, feel free to correct if it was not the case, the change doesn't start with the employees. The change always starts from top to down. The change should have a change leader, the company management, the top leadership who act as change leaders and like lead this change process. And the first step is creating awareness. And the employees are trying to sabotage it and resist it, naturally resist it. And it's okay, they're trying like to save their job, right? To stay there, to stay in the company, because they do not have that awareness. Probably there was no communication with the top management whatsoever, and there is no clarity on the results. And remember that question that I was telling everybody would ask, like, what is in it for me, right? If nobody told me what is in it for me, I would resist. I would have a lot of fear, and I would assume the worst, that I will be fired once this is life, right? So this should be managed by company leadership. They should come clearly and come and say what's going on, why this is happening, and be honest about this. I understand that this is probably like very ideal situation, but this is how it should happen when top leadership comes and says, well, we are implementing this because we really want to cut our costs, and probably you will be transitioned to a new role, because my assumption that I will be fired as an employee because nobody has talked to me may be completely wrong. It may be incorrect, totally incorrect, right? And maybe I'm fearing something that will never happen, but I'm already resisting and creating difficulties for the change process. So the best way is clear and transparent communication. And somebody who is in charge of the change should talk to the people, create this clarity, awareness, and transparency. And if there are risks that certain people will be fired, they should honestly, again, this is ideal scenario, they should honestly be told about this right now. Well, yes, when the initiative is live, you will be transferred to the new roles. You will be downgraded. We can offer you only these positions now, but you will likely be fired in 3 months. So start searching for the job right now. And it's like an honest process. We tell you that we will fire you, and we tell you about this in advance simply because this is an optimization process within the company. So always start with the awareness, clarity, transparency, and honesty. Hope this helps. And probably like just group conversation is not enough, but instead one-on-one dialogues should take place. This is the most efficient way to deal with the group resistance. Okay, any other questions, comments? Well, if you have any questions once we finish, please feel free to send me a message in LinkedIn or contact us through our company website. There is an email address, info@advanceedge.org. If you are interested in any of our services, like joining the business analysis global community or enrolling into business analysis courses, you can find all the information again on the website, or again, feel free to contact me. I will always be happy to provide you with more details and answer any open questions about business analysis that you have. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for coming. The recording will be available again on our website in case you want to use it later on. And again, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day. Thank you. Bye.